This is Faculty Focus from Fairleigh Dickinson University. In this edition, we feature Dr. Bernard Dick. Professor Dick is a prolific author. His primary area of expertise is film criticism and history. His body of work includes biographies of Claudette Colbert, Rosalind Russell, and studio chief Harry Cohn. His latest book is entitled Hollywood Madonna, the story of the life of Loretta Young, a movie star who helped define the golden age of television. This episode focuses on the censorship guidelines that dominated Hollywood until the late 1960s.
The Legion of Decency was a Roman Catholic organization that really did not claim to have any binding authority on the faithful. But on the first Sunday of every December, and I know this from my own background, you were asked to stand up in church and take the Legion of Decency pledge. Now, the Legion rated movies. There were general patronage, which was fine. There was for adults, not objectionable in part, but just for adults, adult themes. Then there was morally objectionable in part, and finally there was condemned. I lived for condemned movies. They never played Scranton except once, Bitter Rice, when I made my mind up that I was going to go and see it. Gone with the Wind wasn't exactly condemned. It was put in objectionable in part for all. And, of course, David Selznick, the producer of Gone with the Wind, did pay a fine to the Hayes office because he refused to change, frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. And it would have been laughable if Clark Gable said, frankly, my dear, I don't give a darn. The Hayes office was the first version of the Motion Picture Producers Association that was headed by Will Hayes, who had been President Harding's Postmaster General. But Hayes was very lax. And every once in a while he'd tighten it up when, for example, in 1922, 23, you had all of these scandals. It got much tighter, by the way, in 1934 when Joe Breen, who was a preeminent Catholic, had a foul mouth, but a preeminent Catholic, came in. And there was all of this hue and cry over, of all people, Mae West. And the code had to be tightened. The code had to be tightened. First of all, you could not show crime in a favorable light. But yet, when I used to go to the movies, I identified with criminals. I thought when Humphrey Bogart fell from that mountaintop in High Sierra, that to me was the ultimate tragedy because I was with him. He was such a sympathetic person. Homosexuality or any inference of it is forbidden. Now, that did not stop Hitchcock from inserting it very subtly into Strangers on a Train, and particularly in Rope. You could suggest adultery by having the camera track back from the amorous couple so that you do not see them, but there would be a cut to the window which would be lashed with the pounding rain. Or, if they were going to consummate their relationship, by the fireplace, there would be a dissolve from a blazing fire to embers. Well, what ended it all was that there were so many violations of the production code that it was scrapped. I mean, first, in 1954, Marlon Brando tells Carl Malden, and on the waterfront, Malden was a Catholic priest, a waterfront priest, you go to hell. Now, you would not even use that language, much less to a priest. But because it was a Catholic priest and this was the waterfront priest, Joe Breen said, oh, all right, you know, we'll just overlook that. Then, 59, 60, you start getting intimations of homosexuality in Suddenly Last Summer, Advise and Consent, and lesbianism in the film version of Lillian Hellman's play, The Children's Hour, with Audrey Hepburn and Shirley MacLaine. By 1967, when Bonnie and Clyde came out, I mean, I remember Bosley Crowther's devastating review in the New York Times, calling it garbage in so many words. It's a masterpiece. It's an absolute masterpiece. That was 67. The following year, the production code is scrapped in favor of the MPAA.